Today we're going to have a look at the new Rotate Object functionality inside of Photoshop. So here I've got a stock photo of a cliff face by the sea. And you can see this is in a layer called background. And I also have another object, which is an image of my cat, Leo. So what I want to do is place Leo in a particular spot on the cliffside, as if he's looking over the water. Of course, as you can see, he's facing pretty much this direction, so that's not quite going to work. The first thing I'm going to do is just remove the background, so I'll use the contextual taskbar to do that. And there we go. And let's make Leo smaller. And we can plop him somewhere around here, right? Now, that can look okay. Let's commit that. That can look okay if we want him looking in that direction. But of course, if we want to go through and actually have him looking out over the sea, we're going to have to acquire another photograph or something. With this version of Photoshop, we don't have to do that. We can actually rotate the image. And the way that you get to it, you have the layer selected that you want to rotate. And this does have to be some sort of a pixel layer. So this is a smart object, so that will work just fine. And you go to edit. And then it is a transform type property. So right under transform, you find rotate object. So I'm going to click on that. Now, some things will happen in the background. You can see it's preparing our rotatable object. What it does is it creates a bunch of different rotations, and it gives you this low resolution preview, which you can see right here. So we can see he's got a little bit of a derpy face right now because it is low resolution, but we get these different controls. So here we can rotate or tilt up and down, and we can also adjust sort of the camera view here. And we can also rotate left or right. Now, if I move my taskbar, you can see that's actually down below here. So that's okay. We can move Leo around like this. And you can see it's actually gone through and generated a tail as well. Although it looks like here his hind leg is morphing into a tail, which is bizarre. But yeah, let's go ahead and rotate this in a way that's going to make sense. And we can move it around. Again, adjust this aspect here. And just get it right enough that we're like, okay, now it looks like Leo is looking over the water here. So when we're done, we click done, and it will create a high resolution, much more photographic view of whatever object we're rotating. Now this works very similar to the same kind of functionality with vector content that you'll find inside of Adobe Illustrator. All right, well, you know, it's not perfect. It didn't render him all that great. But what we can do is click on harmonize here and try to harmonize it with the actual background. And perhaps that'll look better. In any case, even if it's not perfect, you can do some interesting compositing with this. And like all these technologies, they'll probably get better over time. Now, Harmonize generates a number of different views for us, and we can find those over in our Properties panel here and pick the one that kind of works the best. And maybe, they're not perfect, are they? Let's go ahead and zoom back out so we can see the entire image. And there we go. So there's our harmonized layer. We turn that off. And here's the difference here. There's, I think part of my problem is I've got so many highlights on his fur that it's gone ahead and focused on those highlights when rendering him the way he is here. And I wonder too if I was using something more akin to the original rotation, if it would actually render a little bit better. Now, if I double click on this rotation layer, I can continue to make adjustments here. So, hi, Leo. I wonder if doing this, we can kind of get something a bit better here in terms of what's been rendered. So let's click done. And right, because Leo was facing us before, I turned him completely around. So like a lot of this stuff, subtlety matters. And I'm guessing in this case, oh yeah, absolutely. So you can see here, that looks a lot more realistic than what we had before. It looks much more like Leo himself right there. So that's kind of the best approach to this, likely. Let's harmonize again. The best approach is likely, like most things in Photoshop, to keep your changes subtle, especially if they're being generated by these new technologies. They can go off on a tangent sometimes. And there we go. So check out these harmonized layers. You can see it's taken the sun into account, so he's more in shadow now. And yeah, so that's rotate object inside of Adobe Photoshop.